In 2004, a spacecraft got close enough to Saturn to record something, a sound coming from the planet's magnetic field. Empty space, no air, no atmosphere to carry sound waves. When scientists converted it to audio, it sounded like something in distress, like screaming from the void. The Cassini spacecraft spent 13 years orbiting Saturn, taking pictures, measuring temperatures, studying the rings. But it also had instruments that could detect radio waves, electromagnetic signals, the kind of thing our ears can't process naturally. Saturn has this massive magnetic field. It traps charged particles from the solar wind, creates this invisible bubble around the planet. These particles collide, create plasma waves, energy rippling through space, and Cassini recorded it. When engineers converted those electromagnetic frequencies down into the range humans can hear, this is what came out. It's not a scream, obviously. It's plasma waves, charged particles vibrating, creating radio emissions. But when you pitch it down into frequencies we can process, it sounds uncanny. High-pitched, warbling, almost vocal. Scientists describe it as eerie, unsettling, like something calling out across billions of miles, and it's constant. As long as Saturn's magnetic field is active, these waves are happening. Cassini recorded hours of it, different pitches, different intensities. Sometimes it gets louder, more chaotic, and when you listen to it, your brain tries to make sense of it, tries to hear patterns, recognizable sounds. That's what makes it disturbing. It's close enough to something organic that it triggers that recognition response, but it's not. It's physics, electromagnetic energy, space doing what space does. So why does it sound vocal? Why does our brain interpret it that way? Plasma waves can create frequencies that overlap with the human vocal range. Coincidentally, when charged particles oscillate at certain speeds, they produce radio waves in that same frequency band. And when we convert those radio waves to audio, they land right in the range that sounds like vocalization to us. Our brains evolved to recognize voices, to pick out speech patterns in noise. It's a survival mechanism. So when we hear something that has the rhythm, the pitch variation, the tonal quality of a voice, we lock onto it. Even when it's coming from a planet millions of miles away with no atmosphere and no life. The pattern recognition kicks in before the rational part of your brain can override it. That's why scientists who hear it for the first time often describe feeling uncomfortable, unnerved. Your rational brain knows it's just physics, but something deeper responds to it anyway. Saturn isn't the only planet making sounds. Every planet with a magnetic field does this. Jupiter has its own plasma waves. They sound different, lower, more like rumbling thunder. Uranus has emissions that sound like wind howling through a tunnel, hollow, echoing. Neptune produces tones that are almost musical, whistling, rising, and falling in pitch. But Saturn's remains the most disturbing, the most human-like in its quality, because it doesn't just sound like noise. It sounds reactive, like it's responding to something. Obviously it's not. It's just variation in the solar wind and magnetic field strength. But your brain doesn't process that explanation as quickly as it processes the sound. Cassini's final mission phase brought it closer to Saturn than any spacecraft before. It dove between the planet and the rings, through regions we'd never measured before. And in those final orbits, the plasma waves got stronger, more intense, because the spacecraft was inside Saturn's magnetic field, in the densest part of the particle environment. The recordings from that period are the clearest, most defined versions of the sound, and they're the most unsettling, because you can hear the detail, the variation, the almost patterns. Scientists released some of these recordings to the public. You can listen to them online. Cassini burned up in Saturn's atmosphere in 2017. End of mission. But Saturn's still out there, still producing those plasma waves, still screaming into the void. No one listening anymore. Just physics happening in the dark, which somehow makes it worse. This sound that tricks your brain into hearing distress, happening constantly, with no one around to hear it. Space doesn't care if it sounds like screaming, it just keeps doing what it does. The next time someone tells you space is silent, you can let them know it's not. It's full of sounds we just can't hear, and some we probably shouldn't want to.